Hi there, this is Kathleen with Made by KYM, and today we are going to make a crochet charm swing. Alright, let's get into the materials. You'll need 3 metal rings that are the same size. I used these metal bangles, which are 2.5 inches in diameter. The hook you'll be using is a G, which is a 4mm hook. And for your yarn, you'll use a medium or worsted weight. I used 100% cotton. Alright, let's dive into the pattern. Alright, we are going to start with the bottom of the charm swing. So to start, we are going to make a magic circle. And then you're going to chain 3. And this counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. So now we're going to work into the ring, and we are going to do a double crochet and a chain 1 into the ring 9 times. Alright, let me double check that I did that 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. So now you pull your magic circle closed. And we are going to slip stitch into the space between your chain 3 and that first double crochet. And that ends the first round. For round 2, we're going to start with a chain 2. And then working in that same space, we're going to put a double crochet and a chain 1. Now going forward, we're going to work in all the spaces, and in each space we'll put 2 double crochets and a chain 1. Alright, to end the round, we are going to slip stitch to our first double crochet. Whoops. Round 3 is where we attach our work to our ring. So you put the ring behind your work, and then make sure your working yarn goes through it and behind, and then we're simply going to chain 1 around it. Okay, now in each space we are going to put 2 single crochets. and make sure you're working around the metal ring. I'll show you in a second. So you can see the ring is getting covered up by our stitches, attaching our bottom to the ring. Okay, you're going to continue working. So in each stitch, we're going to put a single crochet. And again, when you get to a space, that is 2 single crochets. Around the ring. And then for stitches, it's 1 single crochet. And as you're working, just be mindful of your yarn. Sometimes I have to thread it through if it gets caught. So 2 single crochets for the spaces and 1 single crochet for the stitches. And then, like I said before, it gets a little tricky when you're getting to the end, so just pull your working yarn through, so give yourself some slack. Okay, now that is the end of our round 3. So now you can cut the yarn and then we'll do an invisible finish. Alright, so I cut our working yarn and we will do an invisible finish now. So you are going to pull your yarn through and then thread it on a needle. Okay, and then here I'll show you what we will be doing. So this was our very last stitch here, and we are going to go 2 stitches past that and go through both loops and pull our thread through, and then we are going to go back to our last stitch. You can see where it's coming from, and we're actually going to go through the middle. And that creates a stitch or an invisible finish. So now you have to do your 2 side rings, and you're just going to single crochet around the 2 rings. So put your ring in between your tail and your working yarn. So working yarn in the back, tail in the front. And then as you work, you're going to put your hook through the ring, pull up a loop, and your working yarn is going to be behind you, and then single crochet. So I'll do that again, through the metal ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, and single crochet. We'll do it again, working around the metal ring, making sure our single crochets are covering the ring. And I did about 45 stitches to cover this one. Alright, you finished your 2 side rings with single crochets all around. Now you can attach to the bottom. I use jump rings, and I did about 4 stitches between the 2 rings per one side, and then in between the sides I did about 15 stitches. You can also sew your sides to the bottom. Then to finish, I used some faux leather cord, about 15 inches, and then you just go through both side rings, and then I also added a wooden bead to give a little functionality to the charm swing. You can add essential oils to the bead. Make sure it's an unfinished wooden bead so the oils can actually absorb into the wood. And then the bead also helps cinch together and hold the charm swing in place. And you probably already saw I added an acrylic crystal to the bottom, so when it catches the sun it reflects some rainbows around. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more crafty tutorials.